Sterling Maddox had seen his share of hardship cutting timber in the remote valleys, but nothing could have prepared him for the horror he'd uncover behind Amos Thatcher's outhouse that misty morning. The discovery would unravel everything he thought he knew about a father's capacity for cruelty. The fog hung low among the pines as Sterling guided his wagon down the rugged trail to Thatcher's ranch. His axe handle had split the day before, and word was Amos had good hickory for sale. With winter looming, a broken tool meant no work, no money, no survival. The Thatcher place sat in a valley so secluded it felt cut off from the world, where even the wind seemed to carry secrets. Sterling had heard tales of Amos, how he turned bitter as coal dust after his wife's death, but stories were just campfire talk until you saw the truth up close. As Sterling neared the ranch, an uneasy quiet settled over him. No dogs barked, no chickens scratched the dirt. The silence was heavy, unnatural. He called out for Amos, but only his echo answered. Then, a faint sound caught his ear, a soft whimper, like a wounded animal trying to stay hidden. It came from behind the house, near the outhouse. Sterling's boots crunched on brittle leaves as he followed the noise, his gut twisting with a warning he couldn't name. He hesitated at the outhouse door, the whimper growing clearer, human. Steeling himself, he yanked it open and staggered back. Chained to a metal ring in the wall was a young woman, her dress reduced to tatters, her hair a matted mess. Her eyes, wide with fear and defeat, hit him like a fist to the chest. She flinched as if expecting a blow, whispering, "Please, don't hurt me." Sterling's mind reeled. This was no stray or thief, this was Amos Thatcher's daughter, Maggie, chained like livestock. The shackle had rubbed her ankle raw, her body gaunt from neglect. This wasn't just cruelty, it was something darker, something that broke the boundaries of human decency. Heavy footsteps snapped him out of his shock. Amos Thatcher's voice sliced through the air. "Well, look who's poking around where he don't belong." Sterling turned to see Amos, rifle in hand, his face cold with irritation, no trace of shame. "You shouldn't have come back here, Lumberjack. Some things ain't for outsiders." "That's your daughter," Sterling said, his voice tight. "That makes it my business." Amos stepped closer, his boots deliberate on the packed earth. "Maggie ain't been right since her mama died. Gets wild, dangerous. This keeps her safe." "Safe?" Sterling spat the word, glancing at Maggie, who pressed herself against the wall, her eyes screaming the truth Amos denied. "She's starving. When's the last time you fed her?" Amos shrugged. "She gets enough. More than most would give something like her." "Something like her?" The words burned Sterling's throat. He saw Maggie's face now. Scarred, worn, but with a spark of intelligence and kindness her father was too blind to see. "You're going to unlock those chains," Sterling said, his voice low and dangerous. Amos laughed, a grating sound. "The hell I am. Get back to your wagon and forget this, or you'll regret it." The rifle lifted slightly, a silent threat. Sterling's mind raced. The distance was too great to rush, too close to flee. But Maggie's faint whimper decided for him. "I came for hickory," he said, keeping his voice steady. "But we've got other business now." "You're thinking wrong," Amos growled, his finger twitching toward the trigger. "You'll ruin my name in town. Can't have that." Sterling understood. Amos had likely told everyone Maggie was dead or gone, hiding his cruelty behind a lie. "People know I came here," Sterling said. "They'll come looking. They'll hear my story," Amos sneered. "You attacked me, threatened my property. A man's got a right to defend himself." The standoff stretched tight. Maggie's voice broke the silence, trembling but clear. "There were others. The preacher last spring, the cattle buyer in summer. They found me, promised to help. Papa lied to them, too." Sterling's blood ran cold. Amos wasn't just hiding Maggie, he was silencing anyone who discovered her. "How many?" Sterling demanded. Enough, Amos snarled, swinging the rifle toward him. Sterling dove as the shot rang out, the bullet splintering the outhouse wall. He rolled behind a water trough, heart pounding. Amos needed to reload, one shot gave him seconds. Peering out, he saw Amos duck behind the house, but Sterling noticed something else, Maggie's chain. Years of her pulling had loosened the ring in the wall. One good tug might free her. "Maggie," he whispered, "can you pull the chain loose?" She tried, hope flickering as the ring shifted. But Amos was ready, his rifle reloaded. "Time's up, Lumberjack." Sterling sprinted for Maggie, ignoring the risk. Another shot tore through his sleeve, grazing his shoulder, but he reached her and yanked the chain with both hands. The ring gave way in a burst of splinters. "Run for the wagon," he gasped. "Don't look back." Maggie stumbled but ran as Amos rounded the corner, rifle raised. Sterling grabbed a rusted shovel and charged. Another shot ripped through his shoulder, dropping him to one knee, but he forced himself up. Amos advanced, smug. "Should have minded your business. How many did you kill to hide your shame?" Sterling roared, swinging the shovel with all his strength. It cracked against Amos' skull, sending him sprawling, blood seeping from his head. He was alive but down. Sterling staggered to Maggie, who stood frozen by the wagon. "You came back for me," she whispered, tears in her eyes. "Of course I did," he said, pain lacing his voice. "Nobody deserves this." Maggie's voice broke. "But I'm what he said, ugly, worthless." Sterling touched her cheek. "I see strength, kindness. Someone who survived hell and stayed human. That's beautiful." They climbed into the wagon, smoke rising from the ranch, Amos' signal. Hooves thundered behind them as a posse, led by Sheriff Langston, gave chase, believing Amos' lies that Sterling had kidnapped Maggie. Sterling veered onto a narrow canyon path, a risky shortcut from his logging days. "Hold on," he told Maggie. The canyon walls closed in, the wagon rattling over rocks. The posse hesitated but followed, driven by Amos' shouts. Maggie warned, "This canyon dead ends at the old mine." Sterling remembered a sealed passage through the mountain. "Any way through?" he asked. "Maybe," Maggie said. "It's dangerous, but there's a tunnel." At the mine entrance, they abandoned the wagon, Sterling grabbing a lantern. Inside, the air was damp, the timbers groaning. Maggie led him to a narrow opening. "This leads out, if it's still open." They squeezed through, extinguishing the lantern to hide from the posse, now in the mine. Amos' voice echoed, chillingly close. "I can smell your fear, daughter." A timber cracked, and the passage collapsed behind them, trapping Amos and the posse. Sterling and Maggie stumbled into daylight, free at last. He slumped against a boulder, blood loss overtaking him. Maggie's face, scarred but resilient, shone in the sunlight. "You're wrong about being ugly," he said. "Real ugliness is what your father did." Tears fell, but they were tears of hope. Riders approached from town, help, at last. Sheriff Langston, emerging later, confirmed Maggie's story with the outhouse evidence. Amos would face justice. At the doctor's, Maggie stood by Sterling's bedside. For the first time, someone had seen her worth. The sunset painted the sky gold, promising new beginnings. Maggie was free, and sometimes, freedom was the most beautiful thing of all.